Welcome to the Blockchain Real Estate Podcast, sponsored by the Blockchain Real Estate Summit. Don't forget to mark your calendars for the Blockchain Real Estate Summit 2025, happening online from September 23rd through the 25th for our worldwide audience, with over 50 renowned real estate and blockchain experts and academics representing over 30 countries from around the world. Visit blockchainrealestatesummit.com for more information about the event and to subscribe to our newsletter for the latest updates on innovations in the blockchain and real estate sectors. That's blockchainrealestatesummit.com. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody. I'm Michael Flight with the Blockchain Real Estate Podcast. As always, none of this is financial advice, legal advice, or any type of advice. It's strictly education and entertainment for you. We have a jam-packed show today. We've got Thien Tran from T-RIZE. And T-RIZE is a new tokenization platform. They're tokenizing everything. They want to take over tokenizing the world. But before we get into that, I'd like to talk about our sponsor, the Blockchain Real Estate Summit. The Blockchain Real Estate Summit has been going on. This will be its 5th year. We're going to do another one online, 3 full days. Europe, Asia, the Americas, and we're going to have some really exciting lineup this year. So you're going to want to get your tickets early because the tickets are still at the discount rate. It is September 23rd through the 25th. So go to blockchainrealestatesummit.com. That's blockchainrealestatesummit.com. We also have another sponsor. It's Sense for Fit. It's the Sense for Fit app. And the reason why Sense for Fit fits in with the Blockchain Real Estate Summit is because they not only have real world gyms and yoga studios, but they also have a great token project. They're currently going to migrate their token to another chain, so that's an exciting thing coming up. But go to senseforfit.com to pick up the fitness app and get involved with Fit to Earn tokens. You can earn tokens for just being fit and doing fitness stuff. And you can also earn tokens by referring people to the app. So it's very exciting. And you can win a special prize to the Sense for Fit Summit in Bucharest, Romania, happening August 30th and 31st. We are going to have a special forfeit token party on August 31st. You won't want to miss it. It is going to be the biggest thing in Europe. It's going to set the place on fire. Anyways, with that, welcome again to the Blockchain Real Estate Summit. I have Thien Tran here from T-RIZE, and Thien's going to talk to us a little bit about what T-RIZE is doing, some of the stuff. It's really an exciting team. They have like a bunch of rocket scientists putting this thing together. So Thien, tell us a little bit about T-RIZE and how you guys came about, why you guys decided to do this, and your background too, please.
Yeah, absolutely. T-RIZE started in the last bear market, basically. So in June 2022, most people from the institutional world, for example, the CEO Madani, used to be at one of the biggest asset managers in Canada. So he was already seeing some kind of traction in Japan and Europe about tokenization. As for me, I used to be an investment consultant where I was advising some of the biggest pension funds in Canada. In that sense, I was always looking, at alternative investments, also in terms of, sustainability, so carbon credits, things like that. And we made some genius from the ETS engineering school. So from there, we actually started the project, and we were, what's funny, when we started, we had the whiteboard. We spent days and days just filling it up, cleaning things, writing it, bringing the model, playing with that in every aspect possible. And actually 3 years later, when we look back, everything we thought we would do, we did. So very exciting where we are at. And like you mentioned, we are tokenizing real estate, but more than that, we are one of the first to tokenize new constructions. The way to structure it, the way to fundraise for them, it's very novel, and we've developed a blueprint to do so. So
okay, so you're tokenizing real estate developments, is what you're saying?
It is, yes. That's what we do.
Thien, can you just give me a little bit more information? What were you on the technology side or the investment side? And just give me a little background on your partners too, as to how you decided that tokenization and blockchain was the space you wanted to work in.
Yeah, so I used to be an investment consultant. So I have my CFA charter holder. I also a KAYA charter holder. So everything related to the alternative space, I was very knowledgeable about that. But then 4 or 5 years ago, actually, I switched career. So I actually took a break, travel, and then come back and did a financial engineering degree where I was actually looking a lot about optimization, data science, and AI. From
Okay.
there, I just got like, okay, I want to build something. So,
Yeah.
so I when I looked, actually, what was very interesting to me was blockchain technology. And when I read the blockchain white paper, which is actually very elegant, when I saw the white paper, I like, okay, this is something that I can work with, and this is my understanding of all real world assets. But then I met my co-founders a year after that. I spent a
Mhm.
year in the space just analyzing all of the project possible. And then I met Madani, which was from a trader, a senior trader at Laques. So very knowledgeable about the market, about trading, about how to structure deals. That's
Mhm.
his strength. He managed risk and structure deals with very high volumes. And then I also met one of my co-founders, Eduardo, the genius, mad genius, the CTO. He's been actually coding since he was 12, and he's been like doing things. He got very specialized in system infrastructure.
Right.
So
Right.
from that we started, and we actually one of the first thing we wanted and we did was actually to create a research chair at the ETS. So we created one of the first research chair in the world dedicated to tokenization. Uh, so we have a deal with them for the next 5 years. We are getting over 50,000 hours of research from that chair, and it's PhDs and postdocs that are looking at how to optimize.
In what school is that chair endowed at?
It's the ETS University, ETS School, Engineering
Okay.
School in Montreal.
Okay. All right. And T-RIZE is based out of Canada?
Yes, we are. We are from Montreal. Most of the
Okay.
team is from Montreal.
Okay. Fantastic. Fantastic. And so how long has T-RIZE been around? How long have you been in development?
Yeah, so we are closing to our third year. So it started in June 2022, where everything was hard. Well, it was the last bear market, but we took that as an opportunity because
Mm-hmm.
you build the strong project when it's hard, when money is lacking, when you have to deep dive, take really strong focus on how do we make this work instead of just pushing for marketing, pushing for raising. We would just focus on building the solution.
Right. Perfect. Perfect. So, you said you've already got, and your website says you've got, was a few, $100 million in development. Can you talk about a little bit about, what you've got in development there?
Yeah,
So,
so
go ahead.
sorry, very excited about that because it's called Champfleury. It's a nice new construction project, almost $1,000 in Laval, which is a suburb of Montreal.
Okay.
The way we structure it is actually, one of the things we were going to solve is not tokenization. Is not really just about technology, because actually all blockchain is meant to tokenize. All blockchain is meant to create tokens and to have them live on them. The real challenge of tokenization is the legal aspect. How do you structure that, and how do you distribute that? Okay, I'm taking just a bit step back for you to understand the journey we had to go through to
Mm-hmm.
bring this 300 million US deal. And one of the key things we had when we started is one of the biggest shareholders in T-RIZE is actually a law firm. They also specialize on tax advisory. So we covered tax, we covered the legal structure, and then after that, after we built advanced the platform from we had institutional people giving feedback, like people from asset management, people from real estate development. They were giving us feedback on what they wanted on our platform. And from there, when we built it, when we were ready to bring the first few projects, the main questions was, how do you distribute that? Like, the legal framework in Canada was a bit lacking. So we looked at how we could do it. And we ended up with the solution, which is to actually partner with, broker dealers, SEC registered people, distributors in the US.
And so you're primarily raising capital in the US, so there's security tokens in the US?
Yes. So this is a very interesting that observation you made is actually, so, one of the biggest problem in the world right now is the lack of housing, right? Lack of renting housing. And in Canada, especially, where actually, due to the economic condition, inflation, interest rate, the bank are not lending that much anymore. So there's a big drop of new starts, okay? So that's where we fit in. We accelerate the fundraising of new development. But there's also like some restriction in Canada where foreign investors cannot invest in residential assets in Canada until 2027, due to they were buying that and leaving that empty. So we are taking a problem and we turn it into a solution, right? So instead of they buy this, hold this, and taking space, taking livable housing from people, from Canadian people, now they actually are part of the solution where they finance those projects, and they get the rent, they get the capital appreciation through security tokens then.
Nice. So it's only US investors. There's no, or is it open to Canadian investors too, or anybody else anywhere in the world?
For now, for the first project, the Chamfleury project, which we actually already have the first tranche, so 23 million US tranche available for investment to accredit it in the US through one of our partners, Texture Capital. That one is only available to US investors right now. But for the goal and the purpose we are doing this work is actually we want to connect different distributors, different license holders, where they are broker dealers and they can actually reach out to different markets. So eventually all of our tokenized assets will be distributed globally.
Sure. I know Richard and the boys over at Texture. They're good guys. So, but the other question I had is, and maybe this is getting too far into the weeds, but we've done work with Canadian institutional investors and individual investors, and so you don't have LLCs in Canada. So is it a general partnership, and the tokens are part of an LLC here in the United States?
No, actually, the structure, like a bit of highlight of how we did it, is actually the asset is put into SPV.
Okay.
And the security tokens have rights on the SPV.
Okay.
So that's a bit like the way people have been finding out how to do it, how to structure it in the real estate industry. Yeah.
All right. And so what else are you guys doing? What other type of projects are you doing? Is it only focused on real estate, or are you doing other type of assets?
Yeah, one of the thing with the real estate is that it takes a lot of times. It takes times for the permits. It takes times if there's delays. It takes time to fundraise. A lot of those issues. When you look at the tokenized market right now, looking at the trends, we see, for example, a very strong acceleration in terms of tokenized T-bill, in terms of private credits, things like that. So we are also looking at those type of asset class, but right now, what's the most easy to deploy that we can see is actually the funds, managed funds, basically. Also, there's two other asset class we have worked a lot on. One of them is actually carbon credits. One of the main challenge of carbon credits is the quality of those, where they came from. You don't want double spending, things like that. So we actually implemented what we call proof of origin. and proof of process. So you know where they came from, how they were created, things like that. So it's very interesting because we match them with our real estate to decarbonize the real estate.
Mm-hmm. And Canada is known for, mining and minerals and also oil and gas. Is that something that you are exploring, tokenizing some of those projects at some point in the future?
Yeah, of course. Actually, we have a lot of demand globally for gold. People really reach out to us. They want to tokenize gold, and it's a whole process, right? You have to have it in the vault with a custodian, with insurance, with a proof of reserve.
So,
And
so
once,
you're tokenizing the actual gold that's already been mined and in existence, correct?
yeah,
Okay.
that's the goal of that. So
Mhm.
people have been asking us, hey, can you do that? Because there's a lot of demand to bring this on chain to remove the cost of holding all of that, and to actually embed that into DeFi, connect to all the projects.
Sure, sure. So, that, gold, so is it going to be a gold stable coin, or is it going to be, an actual like claim on, actual physical gold?
That would be a claim on the goal, but
Hmm.
of course, it would be very similar to what you already see. The twist here is they want to also add, using those as collaterals and using those.
Right. Put
Yeah,
it in collateral in a DeFi pool or something
yeah.
like that. Yeah.
But our main business and the traction been seeing is actually real estate. A
Okay.
lot of real estates.
And is the real estate primarily in Canada, or do you have worldwide, ambitions?
Yeah, actually, right now we started in Canada because that's our hometown, and that's where we understand the market, we understand the pricing, the locations. But we have been getting inquiries from the UK, from Australia also a lot.
Okay. Really good. Really good. What else did you want to go over with T-RIZE that you think I didn't cover yet?
This actually, tokenization is the first step, but eventually this will be a lot more tokenization platform, right? So
Mhm.
where's the unique value proposition in that? We believe in actually that value proposition being AI. And
Okay.
it's a very different type of AI than what you can see right now, where right now people are used to agents, they are used LLMs, those type of ChatGPT where they will analyze project quickly, the
Right.
paperwork and everything.
Right.
What we do is actually we do decentralized machine learning. So we take a step back, we leverage the last 20 years of AI development, and we add what we call federated learning. And I'm sure you're aware what it is, but you never heard of the
Right. So
name.
you're creating federated learning and you're distributing the inferences so that it's going over a network of other AI, or running it over a network of computers.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
basically the blockchain is used to aggregate and distribute the models. But because we use federated learning, the data is private. And it's very important for all of our clients, which are mostly institutional clients, because in the same sense as Equifax or your credit score, right? All the
Right.
banks are competitors, but they would collaborate to get a stronger model. This
Right.
is what we implement.
Right. And so are you issuing, let's back up on the tokens and also the AI. Are you, married to a specific blockchain that you're doing the tokenizations on?
That's a very good question. This is something that we get asked a lot, but actually, the platform is blockchain agnostic. It means that, for example, uh, it depends on the asset owners. They decide where they want to be. Like
Hmm.
sometimes they get incentive to be somewhere, but right now we are integrated with Base, with Avalanche. We also are developing on the Canton network, which is one of the biggest public permission chain focused on privacy. That's
So
a
those are
very,
mainly
yeah,
Ethereum virtual machine compatible right now?
yes. Most of
Okay.
them, yeah, are EVM. Yeah.
Okay. And then would you at some point do Solana or like an Aptos or a Sui, or is that not on the roadmap right now?
It's actually we are open to that. It's a very like it doesn't take that much time to deploy tokens to support, to bridge that our platform to those blockchains. So it's not a problem, and we can do it very quickly.
Okay. And getting back to the federated AI then, because that's very interesting what you're doing. So how are you getting the participants to participate in, allowing their computers to be used in the your federation?
So we use a system, it's a token-based system. Basically, we are launching very soon a utility slash governance token.
Mm-hmm.
And in that sense, we can incentivize people to share, like the early adopters, right? To share
Right.
their models so that basically we provide the infrastructure to run federated learning, and they will use whatever models they want. They will use the federation they want. So
So the participants in the federation are supplying the models, or they're supplying the storage and on their computers. Like, because I know Render, use people's free storage, and that's how they created most of their network. So are you doing it with the modelers or just the storage end of it?
so we don't do decentralized compute. We don't
Okay.
do the decentralized storage thing. What
Hmm.
we actually do is actually it's a mix of off-chain computation, because right now the blockchain are not ready to do everything on chain.
Right. That's why I was asking about which blockchain, because they're not fast enough for a lot of the inferences.
But we use a ZKML to actually transfer the information and then to aggregate that on chain and then to distribute that. Eventually, it would become like it would save so much cost to entities, companies to run it through that model that to have to build their own AI.
Right. Right. Okay. Okay. And you had mentioned that, and I've seen in your website, you are issuing a token at some point, or have you already issued a token?
We are issuing a token. Basically, it started last March 2024. Before that, we were very focused on building the product, making sure the business model was working, getting up to 2 billion in signed MOUs, which we are converting into live assets. And we actually are deploying the smart contracts so people can check where we tokenizing. But since last year, we have been working very hard on the tokenomics, and we wanted, like, our platform is more centralized than decentralized, right? But
Hmm.
we also have built an infrastructure. So those token would actually bring gradual decentralization, where the community and the participant would actually get a, a piece of the governance and at the direction of the ecosystem.
So is the token going to be more of a governance token similar to a DAO, or is it you're going to also be able to participate in revenues?
So it's a governance token, but you can actually direct the governance treasury, which is actually 30% of the supply,
Okay.
into into attracting the type of tokenized assets you want, into also rewarding the community.
Okay.
So also we use what we call a maturity weighted bonding system, where the longer you hold it, the stronger is your voting power, up to
Okay.
3 times the initial value.
Okay. So it's a bonding system, and it's
Yeah.
based on, your length in the project.
Yes.
Okay.
So people that are with us since the beginning, after 3 years, the value of the tokens is 3 times more than anyone else. So it rewards being with us early. It rewards also, like, if you participate in voting, if you participate in the community initiative, you get rewarded for that. So
Right.
it's a
And
very
I'm sorry, finish up. I interrupted you.
just a small thing. It's like our mission and our vision is we want to democratize access to high quality assets. So that's another way to reward people to be with us in this journey.
Well, and it's good because a lot of projects issue a token, and a lot of the VCs and some of the other early investors dump early, and it really hurts the liquidity of the token. So if you can incentivize them to stay in and get more rewards, then that's a good mechanism to create community. Because I think the biggest issue that a lot of real estate people don't understand is that um, they think that just doing a token, you're automatically going to get a bunch of people to invest in your token. They don't understand that it's the same type of work that you have to do if you're doing it as a regular real estate syndication. You have to build your community, you have to build a group of investors, and you have to keep them informed and incentivized. So, with the T-RIZE platform, hopefully that'll create some community for, other good developers to come in and do some things too.
100%. And that's why, since the last couple of months, we started, attending events. We were at East Level. We also were at the Digital Asset Summit in New York this week. And in next week, we are going to the real estate conference where we can present what we are doing with tokenization, tokenizing new developments. So
Which
it's
real
very
estate
interesting.
conference are you going to?
It's in Montreal. It's called Conference Circle 13. It's a bit more niche, but that's the market, right? So
Well, and you're going to find real estate investors because the biggest issue is a lot of real estate people that have seen, and that was my initial reaction. It's like, oh, these guys are raising billions of dollars in ICOs, so I should be able to raise ICOs. But the typical crypto investor wants like 1,000x in 3 months, and then they're done. So it's a different mindset than saying, oh, I'm going to invest in a real estate project and I could actually get cash flow or I could get, excellent appreciation. So with your development, you're going to end up with depreciation. I'm sorry, appreciation. And that gets me to the token structure. Is there any cash flow with the development, that one that you were talking about, or is it primarily it's going to be built after it's built and refinanced? Then, there's an event where, the token holders make money.
actually, it's very interesting. We allow the investor to participate since the beginning. So because instead of doing the traditional way where they have the project, they have to borrow from the bank, build, and then at the end send and repay to everyone, they actually sell the asset at the beginning in terms like in the shape of security tokens, equity tokens. So they get in early. It reduces a lot of the risk of the real estate developer. In that sense, they also can share the rewards. So when you get in at the price now when it's just land, and when it's get built, actually there's a huge jump in value.
Right.
That's the first return on investment, and after that, it's been managed for the next 4 to 5 years. And in that sense, they get the monthly rents.
So, but the jump in value, is that going to be realized through a refinancing then?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because what's the asset liquidity? How do we manage to do that? Here because we tokenize that, it's a token, right? So this a secondary market can open up. At yet we distribute that through broker dealer, so it's a Reg D, and through Reg D it's locked for 12 months. Okay,
right.
The token after 12 months,
yes,
they can open up to a secondary market. But the other way we actually do it is that we also connect the token as a collateral into a borrowing and lending protocol. So there's two ways to get liquidity. Either you sell it out to an order book in the secondary market, or you can use it as a collateral. You borrow stablecoins, And in that sense, you don't even have the tax event of selling it. So you can hold it 2 to 5 years where you will realize the project, approximately the project IR of that project.
And we should probably go back. So a Reg D in the United States is a Regulation D. So you get an exemption. So it can only be invested in by accredited investors. But you brought up a really good thing about tokens, which you cannot get in a regular paper syndication. After a 12-month lockup period for Reg D tokens in the United States, they can be sold to any type of investor, whether it's accredited or non-accredited. And the thing that's really good about that, because I'm not a huge fan of accredited investor laws, but the thing that's really good about that is that non-accredited investors can get into a seasoned real estate project. They can see that there's 12 months and it's like not like completely speculative because there's a 12-month history or more that they can see and they can say, oh, I want to invest in this token because I've seen that they either have developed the project or they're like close to finishing the project, or in the case of an up and going project where there's cash flow immediately, they can say, oh, there's been 12 months and they've paid out every quarter or every month. So that's a nice thing about the token laws.
Yes, and also another thing we did, to lower the investor risk, is actually we structured it really in a sense that it's very institutional. What I mean by that is that we get that appraised by one of the biggest, real estate firm. They do it, they know how to do it. Well, after that, we get audited projections from an accounting firm. We also ask this project in particular to get a performance bond. What it means is if they guarantee that they will deliver what they said they will deliver.
Mhm.
Otherwise, they will get a big penalty, and the project wouldn't get done.
Right.
So it protects the downside for the investors.
Right. The performance bond would be that in case they did something where they went bankrupt or something like that, the performance bond would step in and pay to get the project completed.
And also another point is the money raised is being held into an escrow account.
Mhm.
So they will always they have to justify the next milestone, and then the money get released.
Right. Typically, if you have an institutional lender like a bank or something, you need the architect and the contractor to sign off that number one, they've been paid, or they've filed all the lien waivers, and the architect says, yes, they did the work, that they said they did during this payment, and then those are released through the title company. So that's, very good. And that's something that anybody that's investing in any development project should look for is like how, because the joke was in the 1990s, these real estate developers down in Texas and stuff had no intention of ever like building the building. So they just took the first draw of the construction loan and went out and bought a huge yacht. And so they called their yacht First Draw. But we're so that's just some of the antics that sometimes go on in the investment world. But so anyway, just to wrap this up, is there anything else that you think we didn't cover? Because I would like to get into how people can learn more about T-RIZE, where they can find you and everything else. So is there anything else that you think we need to cover here that we might have missed?
Well, I think really is what's next, right? What's coming? Because what we are excited about, yeah, real estate, alternative investment, very good, very stable, and but what we really want, and personally myself, is that when you can start tokenizing assets that no one had access to before, like for example, tokenize a sport team. Yeah, if you're a fan and you hold a piece of the team, the feeling is incredible, right? And
Right.
you want to align those incentives, and actually it becomes even a stronger marketing campaign that you can think. So it will actually add so much valuation to those type of assets, then it makes a lot of sense that everyone get to win and participate on the upside. So
Right, right. And NFT ticketing and all kinds of other like really cool stuff you can do around sports. So
yeah,
yeah. So anyway, the website is T-RIZE. That's T-RIZE.io, correct?
that's correct.
Okay. And if the best place to find you on social media, are you guys on Twitter and Instagram and LinkedIn?
Yeah, we are in all of them. Yes.
Okay. And if somebody wanted to reach out to T-RIZE and find out more about, maybe potentially tokenizing an asset or investing in one of the assets on your marketplace, is there a contact page where somebody can go to and sign up for your newsletter?
Sure. I think the main page, the T-RIZE.io page, give you the access to the contact form, and also you actually can reach out to our platform directly there. So you can see a bit like what it looks like, the T-RIZE platform. Another way to talk to us directly and very easily is that we have built this community. So if you follow us on our links on our Discord, Telegram, and X, you get to talk to us directly. We have some games every week. So we talk direct to the community. We actually launched recently an ambassador program, and in the first week and a half, we had over 1,000 applications.
Wow. Wow. That's really cool. So you guys on your website, they can find your X account and also your Telegram channel and your Discord channel.
Yep, they can find everything. We also have a second website. It's called rizenet.io. Rize, R-I-Z-E, net, N-E-T.io. That one is more for our Web3 decentralized initiatives. And in that one, you actually see where we do our AI.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to have all these websites in the show notes. It's T-RIZE, that's T-RIZE.io, and it's RizeNet, RizeNet.io as well.
Yes, correct.
Okay, perfect. And then they can reach out and participate in the community and everything else. I really do appreciate you coming on and explaining everything. It's been a fascinating thing. You guys really are trying to build a massive community there, and we really appreciate you explaining it. So is there anything else that you think before we need to go?
The only thing is please follow us, please talk to us. We are very happy to share what we learn, what we are pushing forward. And our slogans now is tokenize everything anywhere.
Tokenize everything anywhere. All right. Well, with that, I want to thank our sponsors for this week. Our sponsor is the Blockchain Real Estate Summit, happening September 23rd through the 25th, 2025. And also our new sponsor, senseforfit.com. That's senseforfit.com. It's Sense, SENSE 4, the number 4, fit, FIT.com. And you can download the app, you can win prizes, you can do games, you can actually make money by getting fit and staying healthy. It's the complete health and wellness app. And don't forget, you have a chance to win a trip to Romania to participate in the Sense for Fit Summit and also the Forfeit Token Party. With that, thank you, everybody. Appreciate you coming. Goodbye now.
Thank you for tuning in to the Blockchain Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by the Blockchain Real Estate Summit. Don't forget to mark your calendars for the Blockchain Real Estate Summit 2025, happening September 23rd to the 25th, online for our global audience. Secure your tickets today at blockchainrealestatessummit.com/registration. If you enjoyed today's episode, please follow the Blockchain Real Estate Podcast on your favorite platform and leave us a review. Your feedback helps boost our visibility and allows us to reach more listeners like you. Have a guest in mind you'd like us to interview? Let us know by leaving a comment at blockchainrealestatessummit.com. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you at the summit.
Adam Carswell, the voice of liberty. This podcast is solely intended for informational and entertainment purposes only and is not intended to provide tax, legal, investment, or accounting advice. You should consult your own tax, legal, accounting, or investment advisors before engaging in any transaction or undertaking. Thank you for listening to the Blockchain Real Estate Podcast, which is a part of the Blockchain Real Estate Summit Network. Go to blockchainrealestatesummit.com for more information, free reports, and giveaways with free stuff. Thank you.